do the whole video like this. Hey, I'm a leprechaun and I'm Irish laddie-da-dee-doo. Top of the morning to ya, lassie. It is St. Patty's Day. It's freezing cold outside, don't you know? Welcome, it's St. Patrick's Day, and I think I'm gonna talk like this in an accent the whole time. It kind of turns British after a while. It is St. Patrick's Day, which is the day that people generally just drink, but I don't do that kind of thing. Instead, I just wrestle with the back of my chair. I thought I would do a really fun video of, I've been to Ireland a couple of times and I've antiqued there, and I have some really funny things I brought back or some weird stuff, and I thought I would just talk a little bit about that. I have to apologize because I'm like an Irish Hawaiian right now. I didn't have another green dress except for this bizarre muumuu that I found. It's like this vintage, it's probably on backwards actually, this vintage muumuu thing. I don't know if you can really see it, but it's like, found it at a thrift store for like $4. But I love it, honestly. But it is Hawaiian, and this is like supposed to be an Irish video, so how many times have you met an Irish Hawaiian? Not often, have ya? Couple of things about Ireland before I get into the crap that I brought back. They're like super friendly over there, okay? So I've been to like a lot of airports, and I fly into Cork whenever I go there because we have friends who live in Cork. When I fly into Cork, they're like so nice. Seriously, once I wrecked a car, I like literally drove it into a wall at Blarney Castle. Because their roads are like that big, and when another person's coming real fast at you and you're going really fast, you know, the only option is a wall. You know, I bring the rental car back and they're like, oh, don't you worry about it, why don't you just enjoy the rest of your trip? And I'm like, gosh, they're so nice in Ireland. And they really are, probably because there's a bar in every corner. I gotta stop stereotyping the Irish because they're so nice. Like, I feel like, you know, they're crying when they see this. They're like, oh, I should have really beat her up for crashing that car. One of the funny things about Irish people is like their TH sounds are a T sound. So like they go, on the 3rd of March, I was over there. Anything that's a third is like a turd, so. The first time I went to Ireland, I was like, I'm gonna go to every like thrift store, antique shop that I can, and I was in there like I was in Cork, which is a main city in Ireland, and I went to like every antique shop that I could find, and they were all freaking closed. Every time I went there, I was like there for a week. I had a week of wandering, and they're all closed. And here's the funny thing I noticed about Ireland. Like, they have these notes on the door that says, we open at 10 o'clock, or maybe 2, or maybe 5. I kept going back to a lot of them and they were just closed. Okay, you're not here and it's like 11:30 in the morning and you have a store and like responsibilities, like where are you? I did end up going to Irish thrift stores. Really, seriously, Irish thrift stores, how fun is that, right? And they were pretty cool. They were all like run by independent little groups, and they were all really small, maybe about the size of this room, which is pretty small for a thrift store. I mean, here in Utah, the thrift stores are like the size of the entire state. Like, our state is a thrift store. Here's the crappy thing. All the good stuff that was donated was always just sitting in the window, and you couldn't just buy it. It's like you had to like auction it, they'd auction it or something. So I could never buy like the really cool stuff, but I got a lot of pictures. I'm gonna try to put them up on my blog. When I went, it was February, it was cold, but you know, I saw some cool stuff. One thing that was cool, in Cork, there was like a big rocking horse, and it was like really old. It was made of like real horse hair. It was literally like this big, and it was like €40. And I was like, oh my gosh, like if I saw this at home, I'd buy it immediately. But I have to fly on a plane back home for 12 hours, so I cannot be bringing a mohair horse on the airplane. So I decided I'm gonna buy little things that I can fit in my suitcase. And little did I know that wouldn't be, it was a nice thought. Killarney, that's right, I went to Killarney because I heard in Killarney there was a great antique shop. And when I arrived there, I like drove like an hour, and when I arrived there, literally was closed. And I was like, no, it's like Tuesday. It's like Tuesday at like noon. Why are you closed? So I just waited. I waited around and eventually they came around and opened up. I was in there for like 4 hours. But I brought back this cool like sextant. What a sextant is, it's like a little machine that measures the curvature of the earth, I think. I don't know, I'm not a scientist. It just looks really cool. I don't think this is all that old. Maybe 50 or 60 years old. But you know, it was really fun to impress my friends with. Are you impressed, friends? You are? Oh, great. I'm happy to. Dang it. They speak Gaelic in some parts of Ireland, not all parts. But this little saying was everywhere, so I had to buy myself one. It was like on the doors of like everywhere. And it's like, seed, mile, felty. I will look that up later. I feel really unprepared. I should know exactly what this means. But it's something like enter friend or something. It's kind of like a welcome thing you put on your door. Found this book and I actually got this for free. I was buying so much crap. Like a lot of it I resold. I bought it and then took it to the United States and then sold it. But I bought so much crap. The lady that worked at the Killarney antique place, she's like, oh, why don't you just take it? You look like a fine lass. Actually, she didn't call me a fine lass, but I think she wanted to, because let's face it, I'm a fine lass. It's probably about 100 years old and it's just really cool. Portfolio of photographs, scene of famous cities scenes and painting. Don't you know, it's a scene of cities. I had a picture of a famous Utah landmark, which would be great if I had that prepared for you, but I am the queen of not being prepared. Good thing there's this edit button. I'll use the edit button. Oh, for heaven's sakes, where are you? Oh my gosh, that person looks psycho. I found it. Yeah, so they had this like cool picture of the temple here in the temple in Utah, which is kind of like a main feature of downtown Utah. It was in this book, you know, in Europe as like one of the wonders of the world. So now for like the 2 craziest things I brought back from Ireland. I like have no self-control. I literally have this much, okay? And I thought, well, you know, if I buy a lot of stuff, I'll just ship it back. But what I didn't realize, what I didn't think about is that we were going to Paris right after Ireland and we were going to Poland as well. So that means 2 other flights plus the flight home. And so I bought all this stuff and I thought, oh, I'll just put it in my suitcase. Ha ha ha, my suitcase, ha ha ha. They like charge you by, you know, depending on how much you buy, you know, how much you're carrying in your suitcase. So when I found this object that's okay, that's right, I found a Winston Churchill doorstop that weighs, I think, 40 pounds. Just kidding. I weighed it and it's like, it's seriously 38 pounds. I'm not kidding. It's like full cast iron and I bought it and I brought it back to the hotel and my man, he was like, why did you do this? Like, we can't get this home. And I'm like, wait till you see what else I got. It's actually hanging on my wall over there. But yeah, I'll show it to you in a second. I gotta get this. I gotta get it right here. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it, but okay, so it is a big cast iron sign that says, any person who omits to shut and fasten this gate is liable to a penalty not exceeding 40 shillings. And it's like this old sign that's all rusty and stuff. So I thought it was hilarious, so I bought it. And as you know, it's like this long and it's pretty heavy because it's made of cast iron metal. How am I gonna get it home? It was like a big box of stuff. And so we loaded up our suitcase full of this stuff and we went down to the, like, their version of UPS. I think it was called DHL or something. And we just said, hey, can you ship this stuff home for us? And they're like, oh yeah, it'll just cost you a whole pot of gold. And I was like, we don't have a pot of gold. And they're like, well, it'll cost you 2 then. And I was like, you're just such a jerk. We shipped it home, and by the time we got home, which was a couple of weeks later, they were waiting for us. And it was like so expensive. It was seriously freaking ridiculously expensive to ship a giant like tractor trailer full of crap to America. But you know, it was a good experience, and we have Winston Churchill, you know, and I've kind of been more careful on my subsequent trips, and I really regret it. I should have been more crazy. Like, seriously, I should buy stuff and ship it here all the time because it was fun. You know, that's just a bit of my adventures in Ireland. I'll post a few pictures, and you know, maybe you'll have fun when you go to Ireland and do some antiquing and stuff, but I sure did. I had a lot of fun, and I did videos, but I have to find them. Maybe I'll post them someday. Yeah, so just remember that anybody who omits to shut this gate is liable to a fine not exceeding 40 shillings. So just remember that, okay? Arr! I don't know why I said arr. It's not like all Irish people are pirates, even though I'm sure like a few of them are. Yeah, so comment, subscribe, and happy St. Patrick's Day. And next time you see an Irish Hawaiian walking down the street, just say, top of the morning, mahalo. I think. Is mahalo like a thing that they say in Hawaii? I don't know. Like, aloha Irish. No. So goodbye, everybody.